Imposter syndrome is a myth. Yeah. What's up, boo? Welcome back to my vlog. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Sid. I'm so glad you're here. But first, we gotta talk about something, girl. I have been stuck at 96 subscribers for about 5 weeks now. The views are going up, but the subscribers are not. So let's talk about that. Let's fix that real quick. In the comments, please let me know if you're viewing this but you haven't subscribed yet, what it takes for you to subscribe to a YouTube channel. Whether that's consistency, whether that's one topic being covered, whether that's the editing or the voice. Let me know in the comments what it takes for you to hit subscribe. I honestly do want to know. And while you're at it, subscribe to this channel. Thanks. But anyway, let's get back to the topic of this video, which is that, baby, imposter syndrome is a myth. Yeah, girl, I don't know what to tell you. Actually, I do. It's that. Imposter syndrome is not real. It's a myth. And I'm here to tell you exactly why. So I was just on a production meeting planning call with someone for this freelance job I have coming up. It's a job that I decided to take on even though it's a skill set that I haven't really practiced in a while. It's a muscle that I haven't really flexed in a while. I was like, yeah, let me try and get back into that. And everything was going well. All the boxes were getting ticked on the call. And then at the end, the guy was like, how you feeling? You feeling good? No imposter syndrome? And I said, that don't exist. That's not real. That's fake. That's a myth. And he was like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. Acting as if I was just being overly confident. And I said, no, I really believe that. That's not real. That's a fallacy. And you know, that's not a reaction that I am foreign to, because I've said this before in conversations. And sometimes when people hear me say it, they take it as me being overly confident or even braggadocious. And then I'm reminded that people really don't know the history of the term, the history of its usage, and how it's been weaponized, honestly, to make excuses for things like systemic sexism and racism. So right now, I'm gonna break it down for you, and I hope by the end of this video, you will absolve yourself from any feeling of imposter syndrome. Let's get into it. Imposter syndrome as a term was created to describe the sociocultural phenomenon of people from marginalized communities feeling inferior, inadequate, or just fraudulent in their job titles and their job roles. And I do want to point out that this is an American psychological, sociological term. It was created in America, it's used in American jargon, and it's used to explain the context of the American workforce, okay? So keep that in mind. So back in 1978, the term imposter syndrome was created by two psychologists, Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes. They interviewed hundreds of women about their feelings of anxiety in the workplace. They wrote a paper about it. It's a very seminal psychological paper, and the term has been in circulation ever since. But I want you to stop and think about the context of the time. Post-World War II, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, women began joining the workforce in droves, like massive numbers. It was a total cultural shift for everything that we knew to be true in terms of homemaking, child rearing, work-life balance, corporate structure, all this stuff. So that's the 1950s to like the 1980s. That's why you see media about it like Mad Men or even that movie 9 to 5. It was a big change in not only corporate structures, but cultural structures in America. And again, this paper was published in 1978, and the 1970s was the smack dab middle of that change. That's when a lot of women were being ostracized for being in the workplace. And I'm not talking about just passive aggressive shit, okay? They were being sexualized, sexually harassed, scrutinized, pushed into menial jobs that was claimed to be women's work. All these things, all these micro and macro aggressions, they contributed to the overall erosion of confidence that women had joining the workforce. So that's when it was created. But I want you to think about the function of the word, of the syndrome, okay? The syndrome puts the onus on the individual. Like it's my own problem that I'm feeling inadequate, that I'm feeling less than, that I'm feeling inferior or out of place. It doesn't take into the account the systemic racism, sexism, ableism, and any other type of ism that is contributing to you feeling that way. And the fact that so many women, so many Black people, brown people, people from marginalized communities feel this way, it's not an individual thing. It is a social phenomenon. And so What you're doing when you take on the role of, oh, I'm feeling imposter syndrome, is you absolve the whole structure that's making you second guess yourself, that's making you second guess your skill set, your confidence, your readiness. You're taking the outside oppressors in the situation, and instead you're flipping it to like, this is something I need to work on. You're too smart for that. So don't play yourself by playing small, by sipping the Kool-Aid that is on you. It's almost like misplaced guilt. This is something that I've always felt really deep down, but it took me a long time to articulate. It wasn't until 2021 where there was this article by the Harvard Business Review. The article was titled, "Stop Telling Black Women They Have Imposter Syndrome." Bloop. It was all about how this phenomenon is not an individual one. And it says, the subhead reads, "For many women, feeling like an outsider isn't an illusion. It's the result of systemic bias and exclusion." And that's when everything clicked for me and it crystallized that my theory was right. So even though imposter syndrome can feel like an individual experience, I just want to let you know that it is rooted in something much deeper and much bigger than you as the individual. It is meant to play a trick on your mind, baby, because it is rooted in systemic racism, misogyny, and patriarchal capitalism that absolves the role of the oppressor. So all that imposter syndrome, that is to play mind tricks on you. For real. Because it's not real. It's not on you to feel less than. It's on the systems and people in power who are imposing that on you to switch up the system. So when I read that article, that's when everything clicked and crystallized for me. And then more recently, it was in 2024, I read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And yes, it's a self-help book, and he's a white man who wrote it, and all that stuff. So you can take a bunch of different things from it. But one of the main jewels that I took from it is the practice of freeing yourself, freeing your soul from negative thoughts, so that those negative thoughts do not feed into your overall worldview. So again, in a workplace setting, if I am too hard on myself and I adopt the mindset that I have to be twice as good to even show up here, and that I didn't earn this job title and this job role, and that somebody's always gonna figure me out and I'm a fraud or I'm an imposter, all of those thoughts are, again, I statements, and they're not looking at the overall picture of where this whole system is operating from, historically and contemporarily. And it's creating my overall negative worldview that is flowing through me. And that's why I've committed to never move in scarcity, never move from a place of lack, and never move from the idea that I'm an imposter in this situation. Because baby, if you're the main character of your whole life and your destiny, how can you be an imposter? It don't make sense. So the next time that ugly, annoying, intrusive little thought of "I'm feeling imposter syndrome" pops into your head, starts to creep into your psyche, I want you to stop. I want you to remember your gifts and your skills and your qualifications that have gotten you this far. Remember this video, rewatch this video if you need to, and really know it to be true that it's not on you, it's in you, babe. We got this. I hope that helps.